Now, aside from the information that Miss Duggar had released, we're going to talk about the Tentacion photos I received. I want everybody to slide into $ capital THE capital CZARR and uplift the channel, as well as the GoFundMe in the description and the PayPal in the description if you don't like either of those two. Those are the methods of supporting the channel. Every little bit helps, and I thank everyone who takes their time out to do so. It all goes towards powering the channel's content and helping me to take the time to listen to what's being said. This is very important, and it will continue to be a factor that's taken into consideration as we get deeper into discussion. Now, I want to take the time to address Mrs. M, who sent me different details dealing with photos, and hers were basically agreeing with something I said. There was no detailed photo of the shooting nor the wound leaking. So there is a supposed wound, but it is not leaking. She got cleats on? What in the... I never seen someone just wear cleats. That's crazy. Wow. It's no football field. What in the world? Let alone a female wearing cleats? Just chilling? That's crazy. But anyways, Mrs. M brought up a good point. In this photo, I don't see it either. I don't see blood. I don't see any type of off-put of a wound being delegated in this photo. Neither do I see in the other photo the wound that's in the photo that is previously put up. So being that these are the case, we have to look at all the details and closely examine everything that's going on with it. I mean, there can be many different reasons, but for now, we see a unanimous reason that there are none. There are none. And I don't know what the issue would be for understanding or being able to see what's going on, but there's a lot of different factors that are beginning to become a nuisance, beginning to overall disproportionately point towards a certain direction that we're not willing to see things have gone. Now, I understand that in these type of cases, they can get messy and ultimately project a viewpoint of an individual when it may not be the case. But all we know is that there's not video on certain things. Now, the reason this is important is because the video helps to transcribe what actually went on. It helps to build the larger picture of what was actually happening. This is a very powerful situation, and it has affected many people, as the peaceful attorney has reminded me. So I have to be very objective in looking at this, especially because people don't want to think the worst of someone considered to be such a powerful star. And even through my long days, I've had time to look very detailed at certain images, certain videos that are describing situations that I no longer find of any necessity. These photos that I'm seeing, if it's being used as credible evidence, I don't see how credible it can be. Again, this is very important because of the different subjects we're talking about, because of the different topics we'll discuss in the future. But looking at these two photos, I do see what they mean. I don't see the hole in the same place as the other photo. Now, how is this possible? I told you video editing is a very powerful tool that has been used for centuries, that has been up to par before we knew it was up to par. And that's something to take into consideration as well. Could there have been a very good edit job to either cause the hole or take the hole away? That's part of why I'm so objective, and I believe it could be either or. I do not believe this is one unanimous view that would allegedly be created to empower what we consider to be dictated as truth or not. But all we can do is objectively agree to disagree, being that there's so much information lacking. There's so many different factors also out of the mix that are building to create a picture that is shaky. There's too many shaky factors to identify a case one way or the other, but there's too many objectives building a view that is irresponsive to a lot of the different things we talked about. I mean, we described many different important things that dictate a case one way or the other, but in this situation, we don't have that power right now. And not having that power is very, very troublesome. I mean, it almost takes away the ability to, without a doubt, bring some type of conclusion into wraps, because the way that the information is produced. Now, being that there's a secret witness that has been declared but has yet to be shown, there are also variables now that have been produced to the case. We don't know who this witness is, nor what they witnessed. We could say one way or other, but there's no way for us to, without a shadow of a doubt, prove that this situation is why or that situation is why. All we can do is hope that it does not lead us to a dead end, where a lot of our conclusions were off base, or what we were thinking and saying is actually factual. Those type of things would help to bring into light some darker meanings to the situation, being that we don't have anybody to point the finger at. So there has to be some type of suspect. And we can't say that all the suspects are not guilty, but at the same time, how are they going to prove the guilt of all these suspects? They can literally play off of situations and say, look, you can't prove I was this. And then investigators have to go back to the board. That's what they don't want to do. Going back to the board is what they want to avoid. Because when you have to go back to the board, it almost proves that what you are investigating to use as credible evidence was all a lie. You see, in violent criminal cases, it's hard to get past the different factors that are presented. But at the same time, if you don't have evidence to back up what you're saying is presented, then it becomes a problem. Then it becomes an issue much larger than any situation we know. And that's what I'm saying. When these issues present themselves, it becomes a hassle for investigation. It becomes a hassle for creating a fair use environment for admissible evidence to hold these suspects to their crime. So even if one of them actually did commit the crime and, they know they did, I have to still, without a shadow of a doubt, prove that they were involved. This involvement is going to help to bring to light some details as to why photos and media was released the way it was. Now, being that I've seen photos of this level and of this nature, it really does shake the boundaries. It really does. Now I don't know what to think about him being alive or dead. I don't know. But I hopefully my goal is to do another video addressing a previous commenter, Theo Kalidoze, who's from the UK and very good at detailing what he thought. And he had some pretty good theories. And I respect that. I'm thankful for that. And it's only going to help me to produce better quality content to arrive at some type of conclusion to understand what was actually happening around the case. This is very important as we discuss things, because we want to do it in a realistic manner off of evidence that has been produced and choose objectively whether it's sensible or not. The sensibility factor is high here. It's very, let's say, in demand, because we have to be sensible with our theories. So yes, there are some things that even I can believe. Some people are saying that I believe exists, but you may not believe it exists, and others may not. That is why we have to use the evidence to depict different situations and narratives, so we stay within the boundaries of what it is that could have happened around the evidence, or to produce this false pseudo evidence in a perspective that makes others believe. So we can all agree to disagree, but ultimately we have to see why others disagree or agree, so we can agree on the same terms that it exists. It's all about whether it exists or not. You see, the existing of certain evidence is crucial. It's crucial. It's the make or break. And the bill of information that's being produced is make or break. So there's no way that we can sit here and say left or right if things are leading a certain direction. It's not possible to just play with the information. I also want to say that I think that it's very important that a lot of people that believe that these suspects are guilty, I would like to see information that shows guilt without a shadow of a doubt, to the point where I can't deny it, that someone was involved, and I have not seen that yet, not even from investigators. Thus, why the case is pulling on the way it is, because there's a lot of young men that are involved in this case that are reaching out saying, look, I didn't do this. Can I get a private investigator? There's no evidence. Can I get bail? And their lawyers are moving accordingly. That's very, very difficult if we're going to consider someone was a shooter, someone involved in blocking him off, and it was a premeditated plan. We already heard that Dedrick D. Williams' girlfriend is willing to testify on that situation, because I believe she was brought into the case and even told the fact she knew about it and said nothing, she might get charges. That's very normal. Investigators will do that to get someone to speak on it, but then they won't get charged and everyone who was involved gets charged. This is not the secret witness they say they got.